Gentlemen, welcome back to my desk, and in this video it's actually a video for Sean, and Sean asked this question over on Facebook, in the Facebook group, about the setup of the bonsai wings. Now, if you were thinking about buying a bonsai wing, or maybe you've already got one, then do hang around because I'm going to be covering a couple of little tips with you, and I've got 3 bonsai wings in front of us. And we'll look at the different setups which you could make on your bonsai wing. Now, I'm going to start with the default setup of a bonsai wing, and it's absolutely horrific, and you should never do it. So this is the Bonsai flying wing. It's such a great little flyer, and the thing is that if you look at the specifications for the bonsai wing, they suggest you have these little 3.6 gram plastic geared servos, and it comes with this horrifically bad little thing, cable little strap to hold your battery in, and also they give you this awful tape which you should just stick in the bin immediately because it's utter crap. Okay, so this is just a standard bonsai wing. That's kind of what you get out of the box. And whatever setup they suggest for you, you should just basically ignore, because let me get the motor out of this bag. And this was one of the guys up at the field. I just laughed when he showed me the motor. That's the motor which they suggest, and it couldn't even push an ant around. It is absolutely tiny. In fact, it is a HK 1512 KV 3200. It's just a joke, in short. It's a complete waste of money. So don't bother doing that with your bonsai. Definitely do not put 3.6 gram servos in it because they'll just rip out, especially if you put a larger motor on them. And definitely do not buy the suggested motor for these, because it's just a joke. You could walk faster than what the plane would fly, put it that way. So there's the bonsai wing. That's the default setup. So let's put that around to one side. Let's not go to the mental one just yet. Let's start with, actually, what some irony here, the underpowered Texumo, underpowered bonsai is actually the one which is the most fun. And the reason why it's the most fun is because you can run 2S, you can run 3S. You'll notice that I've got some Velcro on the top, which means that I've been using this for FPV. So I've just been sticking the camera on and off we go. And it's absolutely fine in a normal flying day. So if it's really windy, I've just seen a big chunk of grass hanging off it. You can see how much I've abused this one. It's just a normal day, great flyer, either line of sight and also FPV as well. So going back to just doing a reference between this one and the basic setup, is that you'll immediately notice the servos are different, okay? Which is that I'm using the Tower Pro. Oh, where's my coffee? Brilliant. There's the Tower Pro they're actually 12 gram. MG, some at 90 servos. I'll put a little card up in the top right hand corner because these servos are just the nuts, okay? And you'll also notice the wood little trim around the outside. You don't need to do that, and I nicked those from a Texumo. That's why I've got them on there. It just seemed like a better idea. And all you do is just cut the hole out a little bit bigger, and then just stick a bit of hot glue down either side. Now, you also probably need to put a little bit of hot glue on the back as well to stop the servo tilting forwards. It does make it a little bit awkward getting it out if it, God forbid, it ever failed, but then you know it's down there really well. And if I turn her over, you'll see that they're still deep enough down in the foam that they're not going to get caught on the way out. Also, you'll notice that we have underneath the servos, I've just tracked the cables down into the center section. Staying on the top, the motor, which is actually really good. It's an Emax CF, so Charlie Foxtrot 2805. Now, I believe off the top of my head, that's a 2840 kV motor, okay, and it will spin a 5 to 6 inch prop. It is only rated from 7 to 9 volts, so it should only ever normally be run with a 2S battery. But to be frankly honest, I've run this with 3S and it's been running fine, but mainly because that's a, what size prop's that? I think that's just a 50-45 prop. Let me have a quick look. Yeah, 50-45 prop, just off a quadcopter. So yeah, it's just a GemFan one and I've never broken it. So this little motor does come with one of those little crappy pusher prop saver thingies on them. They're utter rubbish. Just throw that in the bin immediately. Go and buy yourself a 3.17 prop adapter. Again, I'll put a link to these in the video description for you. Absolutely brilliant. And yeah, never had an issue motor-wise on one of these Bonsais. Well, that's the original motor on there. And I've probably had 200 flights out of it minimum, and that's it, I guess. Literally, this would be the first one out of the car, chuck it in the air, get all my crashes out of the way, unscheduled landings out of the way, and that motor has just not failed me, and they're about £8, something like that. Complete bargain. Oh, a massive tip for you, and I'm just looking, no, I can't see it on my desk. These little bug screws, when you mount this motor on, make sure you've got the bug screws pointing up and down, not on the sides, otherwise you'll never get to them and not be able to take the motor out if you ever need to, okay? Or even just mounting the motor will be a pain in the wrist. So make sure you get the bug screws pointing up and down, okay? Also, those bug screws will come undone if you don't put any Loctite on there. So you'll want to use the blue Loctite. And if you don't have any like blue thread lock, for example, then stick a bit of CA glue on the end of the bug nut or the grub screw and then tighten it up, and then that motor will never come undone. I put some blue Loctite on mine and I've never had an issue with it. Right, let's talk about electronic components. Okay, so if we turn her over, is the number one, you'll notice, let me grab, oops, sorry, I've just hit the mic. You'll notice on there, they provide you with this little board and the cable strap, which just falls out. In short, you shouldn't even just rip it out yourself, and you'll see how easy it comes out. So what I did on mine is that I cut out my battery compartment so that it was a much larger size. Let me just grab one of my little 2S batteries, because that now does bring us nicely onto batteries. Is that I do buy these, well, I've bought loads of these little zippy 1000 milliampere batteries. They're only the little 25C ones. They cost £3 to £4, and you just stick them in there and they fit perfectly. Also on that note, they just so happen to be the same size as a normal 1.3 battery, which also fits in there. So all I did was that I cut out with a very sharp craft knife. So do change the blade, make sure you always use a fresh blade, your models will appreciate it. And I've just cut that out a little bit bigger. Took an ID card, so you know the ones like the Costa gift card and things like that. I've just cut one of those in there, and then I put some goop glue on the back, and then stuck it down, and then stuck a bit of grippy Velcro in there. So that was that. Let's open, oh that's gonna be annoying. Can I get this? And just try, yes, I can get in there for you. You'll notice that I'm using a Velcro tab, one of these, which I think I bought off Hobby King actually, but any of them will do. And let's get, see, that's so good, it's gripping itself. So apologies, I need to do this off camera, man. Let me pull that through. So I'm not going to pull it all the way through because I want to put this back together in a minute because I'm going to be flying it later today. Let me grab that around now. Look at all the grass falling out. I'll give you a little pokey in there, preview in there. Okay, so same again, I cut the hole out bigger, put an ID card down in the bottom and then stuck some Velcro to it. And then I've just got a little Afro, it's actually a quadcopter at ESC, which to be honest, the only negative I can say for that ESC is that it doesn't have a brake on it. Well, unless I go and reflash the software on it, which I can't be bothered to do. So yeah, little 20 amp ESC. I did also just spot one of those bullet connectors has come undone a little bit. Yeah, there you go. And then I've been and manufactured up 2 little cards on there, 2 ID cards, so that it kept the electronics nice and safe underneath. And another little tip for you, I did drill a side hole and then put a cable tie there just to hold the motor wires up underneath. Now let's move on to the topic of reinforcements. You should definitely get some of those carbon fiber rods and put them in your bonsai, because it will mean that the bonsai, the combination of these carbon rods, there you go, these little carbon rods, they're 50 centimeters long, so about 19-20 inches long, 2 mil thick. You just scuff them up with a scouring pad or a sanding pad, line them up where you want them. So if you look on my model, you'll notice that I've gone from servo to servo, so right just in front of the motor mount, okay, and I've put one right across there, like so, and all I did was just get the craft knife and a ruler, just drew a straight line all the way across, then just dragged one of those rods all the way through, cut it to length, and yeah, just stuffed it in there with, I think it was just some CA glue, to be honest. But you'll notice there's some shiny stuff on there, and I'll get to that topic in a moment. Again, I've done exactly the same down on a diagonal, coming back to the bottom of the motor mount on both sides. And the reason for I've done that is just straightforward rigidity, okay? And then down on the leading edge, I've done the same. I've just got one of those carbon fiber rods, cut it in half, and then I've run half up that way and half up that way. And what else have we done? Oh, in the elevons as well, is that you'll see that I've run a carbon fiber rod in those too. Okay. Now a little tip for you, because we are going to get onto the topic of glue and goop glue, is that do goop glue the corners of your elevons, because otherwise they come off. John, can you just give us 2 minutes? Cheers. Otherwise these glue come off. That was actually one of my kids. They picked it up incorrectly. Hey ho. It's not like we're going to lose any sleep over a chunk over there. But on these top 2 corners, do pop a little bit of goop glue on them. The same as on the leading edges. Can you tell which side I forgot to put some goop glue on the little winglets? Okay, that one's almost disintegrated. That one's still intact. Okay. Also, if I move this around, can you see that she's got a bit of a shiny look to her in different places? And then what I've been doing is getting a tube of goop glue, which you should definitely buy. And look, I know it's not cheap. It's 10 quid a tube, which is probably cheaper in the US, say, I don't know, $15, something like that. It's this goop glue, okay? And all you do is unscrew the lid, okay? So you just got the raw tube, and then you just run it all the way down the leading edge, okay? Also run it around the motor mount as well on both sides, and of course you do the underside too. Do it on your winglets on the corners, okay? Anywhere which is going to get an impact, especially these top corners, okay? Also, you want the thinnest of layers along the crease of the elevon. You'll see that I've got some tape on this one, and yeah, that I've had that elevon off, okay? And in fact, I need to take it off again and put it back on again, because when I put it on the second time around, I obviously did it on a bit of an angle, so we have weird movements. But yeah, that's what I class as the Baby Bonsai. And again, shock horror for you, I do class this as my favourite bonsai of the bunch, because it makes hardly any noise. It just about goes vertical on there, and it's such a handful, and it's great for flying FPV around. All right, so that's my Baby Bonsai. Let's move on to the Mental Bonsai. Same setup, carbon down the front, on the bottom. So carbon across. You'll notice I didn't put carbon in there, which I really do need to. Also, I've put carbon in the elevons. And the other thing, which is that if you've got a chance to do this, so when you build your bonsai, Sean, is that don't bother with these plastic clevises, whatever they're called, the horns, okay? If you've got some of these big white ones, use those instead, because I've had on this one, I broke both of them, okay? These ones just don't break. in short. So if you've got the chance to do it, put those on instead. All right, so let's move the Baby Bonsai out the way. The Mentor Bonsai, same kind of setup. This time it's more cruder for fixing. I'm not using like a Velcro strip. I'm just using a cable tie. I'm using the Emax RS 2205 2600 kV motor. It's not cheap, but it makes this thing mental, especially with what prop have I got on this one? It is a 50/50 bullnose tri-blade, and it definitely rips the sky a new one. Also, I was playing around putting these little things on here to try and channel the air over the top. Didn't really notice much difference, to be frankly honest. But on this one, in the hole, you'll see that in the center section, I've cut out the hole a little bit bigger. Same idea, ID card, Velcro, works a treat. And then underneath here, I've got a, I don't know if we can see it, there is, actually it's a Hobby King 40 amp Beck in there, 40 amp ESC, and the receiver's sat right up on the front. This thing rips the sky a new one every single time. Absolutely mental, but I can only ever manage like 1 or 2 flights each time because you have to be on this. You can't like blink when you're flying this because it's just so fast. And because you're running this with a 3S battery on the front, it does mean that it's nose heavy. So if you bring it into a bend like so, and you don't have enough height, it will really sag in the air because there's just not the wing area to keep her up in the air. So Sean, this video was for you. I hope it helps. If you've got any questions, please just ask, whether that be on this video on YouTube or over on the Faceballs group. Yeah, happy days. Brilliant little models. And there's some irony for you. That's my Mentor Bonsai, and it's absolutely bonkers. But the one I like to fly the most is the Baby Bonsai. Spit me words out. Adequately powered, okay? It will run 2S, it will run 3S. Great fun. It's got enough weight in it, especially if you put a 3S on there to chop through a moderately windy day. And if you've got a nice-ish day, stick some FPV kit on the front. You just run the balance lead connector over the side to connect up to the battery. And it's absolutely brilliant. I love the bonsais. So Sean, like I said, if that video has helped you, happy days. And if your name's not Sean and this video has been and helped you, press the like button underneath. I'd really appreciate that. So with that said, from myself, Matt, thank you ever so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll see you soon. Cheerios!